This morning, the House set to vote on an $880 billion budget cut proposal, how Medicaid could be affected.
Plus, the president keeping the world on their toes with tariffs, what his advisors expect.
And UW-Madison students losing visas for unclear reasons, what lawyers say they need to do.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to News 3 Now This Morning on a Thursday. I'm Kyrie Lee.
I'm Chris Stanford. Look who's back. Savannah from the sun from Arizona. That would have been nice.
I know. I got back and it was raining in Chicago. I was like, this is a lot different.
Yeah, back to reality.
Oh, yeah.
Got back to reality.
Yeah.
Which,
Oh, that's the song you're singing. I know that one. I know that one. Okay.
I don't.
If you heard it, maybe you would.
We'll play it for you during the break. All right, let's get to the fog out there. We do have some low visibility in some spots. We've been checking in on our Dodgeville camera to show the conditions out there this morning. Savannah, what's going on in this picture?
Yeah, guys, so we're dealing with a lot of fog. That a little bit more dense than what we're seeing in Madison specifically. We've got calm winds, high humidity levels, and temperatures that are hovering close to our dew points. That's leading to that fog this morning, and also dealing with some showers. Not the best start to our day, but temperatures will warm up into the upper 40s later today. We're at 35 right now in Madison, 35 in Oregon, 35 in Sun Prairie. It's kind of the magic number across Dane County. Some spots a little bit cooler than that. Wisconsin Dells at 33, Watoma at 35. Those places that are closer to freezing level are the areas that are seeing some of that transition over to some wet snowflakes this morning. We're not going to see any accumulation. You can see all that blue on radar up near Camp Douglas, Stevens Point, east of Black River Falls and near Thorpe. That's where temperatures are a little bit cooler, all north of Madison. And then some heavier showers where you see the darker greens up near Acadia and Black River Falls to the northwest of Viroqua and over Wisconsin Dells right now. We'll talk about how long the rain's going to last and when we'll see 60s, a little warmer weather return. That's coming up, guys.
Savannah, thank you. Now to our top stories this morning. Today, President Donald Trump is set to meet with his cabinet members. This comes a day after pausing his tariffs for at least 90 days. The baseline tariff now 10%. The White House says up to 70 countries are pushing for talks, but China is retaliating, upping tariffs on U.S. goods to 84%. President Trump hit back with a 125% tax on Chinese imports. Ahead of yesterday's pause, the European Union originally announced its own 25% tariffs on some U.S. goods, but those tariffs are now paused. The president's advisors predict those could be delayed.
Checking in with stocks this morning, global markets are taking on that momentum from yesterday's boom on Wall Street. European stocks are surging this morning, up 4 to 5%. Tokyo's Nikkei popped overnight 9%. Taiwan markets did the same, but in New York this morning, it is a bit different of a story. We've been keeping an eye on Dow futures in overnight trading. The Dow is down more than 1%. S&P futures down about 1.5%, and NASDAQ futures are down almost 2% this morning.
Uncertainty remains for workers who would be directly impacted by a slowdown in imported goods.
Our consumer reporter Michelle Renee Quinn is here with the possible ripple effects for our nation's biggest ports. Michelle Renee, what can you tell us?
Yes, Chris. Cargo ports are a critical part of the supply chain. The Bureau of Transportation says the East Coast took in $637 billion worth of imports. Now, $216 billion was from the Gulf Coast, and imports on the West Coast topped $548 billion. Now, more tariffs means lower cargo volume, and a lower amount of cargo being transported will likely result in a tightened supply chain and higher shipping costs. The American Association of Port Authorities estimates 21.81 million workers in the port industry. And at the Port of Philadelphia, Holt Logistics president says he employs nearly 500 workers, and these tariffs pose a roadblock for their jobs.
If those ships are not here, or if the loads on them are light, then the work hours will not be there. It really is the cargo that generates the opportunities.
Whether on the docks or loading up, fewer containers means jobs at the port are decreasing.
All right, interesting information this morning. Thanks for breaking it down. Meantime, JP Morgan is sticking with its recession forecast. They say there's a 60% chance the country's headed toward a recession. The bank's economists say the 10% universal tariffs still in place are quite a large shock still, and a massive 125% tariff on China is also a problem. Plus, the tariff pause is only there for 3 months. JP Morgan sees the U.S. war on trade as far from over.
Today, the House is set to vote on a budget blueprint that could be the foundation for how the U.S. spends money after a recent delay. The plan asks the House Energy and Commerce Committee to come up with $880 billion in cuts. Analysts say it's hard to do that without affecting Medicaid. Republicans say they don't want to eliminate that program, but they do want to refine it. But it has Democrats worried. What's not in the budget blueprint are Democratic amendments to reverse customer service cuts for Social Security. The agency is dealing with layoffs and phone service reductions.
Immigration lawyers and political experts say international students should be on high alert. It comes after students across the country had their visas revoked without warning. It includes 6 current UW-Madison students and 7 alumni on employment extensions. Immigration lawyers say the way that students had their visas revoked is something they've never seen done before in the U.S., adding that anyone who got a revocation notice should immediately file for reinstatement. That's especially if it's because of a court case or minor offense. They'll need a letter indicating charges were dismissed.
They will also need some information from either the school or the employer saying, yes, we want this international student. This revocation that's happening all across the country is arbitrary.
Lawyers also recommend international students and immigrants keep multiple copies of their paperwork, passports, and visas in different locations.
A federal judge ordered the government to resume refugee admissions and reinstate funding for resettlement agencies. The International Refugee Assistance Project sued the Trump administration. They argue the government's actions violate statutory obligations approved before Trump took office. Immigration rights advocates accuse the administration of defying obligations and leaving vulnerable families in limbo.
Well, if you drive a car in Fitchburg, you're going to have to pay a wheel tax. It's also known as a vehicle registration fee. Anyone with a car with a registration expiring this August or later, and any new car registered on or after August 1st is going to have to pay a $40 fee. The city says the money is going to go to help out with transportation projects, and it could bring in about $1 million a year. Tuesday night, local officials passed the tax with a 4-3 vote. The mayor casted the tie-breaking vote.
Construction on I-90-94 near the Wisconsin Dells is set to begin next week. It's part of a contract signed by Governor Tony Evers to repair pavement between U.S. Highway 12 and State Highway 23 in Sauk County. Preliminary work will begin Monday. I-90-94 will remain open to traffic under lane closures and nighttime work. The project is scheduled to be completed in August. The search for a missing Chicago man in the Wisconsin River is currently on hold. 3 people fell into the river last Thursday when their boat capsized. 1 person made it safely to shore. Rescue crews found 75-year-old Luis DiFilippo dead last Friday. Now, only 20-year-old Francesco DiFilippo is still missing, but police say they can't continue the search for him because the river's flow is too strong.
Even when it's at its normal flow rate, is extremely dangerous. We're really waiting for the water level to drop in the flow rate or the water temperature to rise.
Police expect the flow to slow by early next week. The search will be resumed at that time. Before then, the public is encouraged to report to authorities if they see anything out of place along the river.
An 80-year-old man is being sentenced to life in prison for murder of his partner. Larry Manthe killed 76-year-old Alice Langer on October 16, 2022. At the time, officials said that the pair were in a long-term relationship that Langer was trying to end. They were living together at the time as well. Manthe was found guilty of first-degree intentional homicide January 10th this year and sentenced to life in prison on Wednesday. He'll be able to apply for extended supervision when he's 100 years old. Well, time to bring out your bikes as spring is now here. Madison Ride the Drive coming back this year, later this summer as usual. So parts of John Nolan Drive are going to be closed from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on that day. The ride is going to run through Oland, Law, and McPike Parks. Cyclists and pedestrians will have free reign over 2 miles of streets in between. 200 volunteers will make sure that everything goes smoothly. You can find more information on how to volunteer by going to our website.
All right, let's check in with Savannah. What's coming up?
Well, guys, we're seeing that transition to wet snowflakes. That's basically all those areas that are closer to freezing level this morning. Madison seeing some rain and foggy conditions. We'll talk about when that'll move out, when we'll see some sunshine and the 60s returning. All that coming up.
And coming up in morning sports, the Badgers have a new face on the field for spring ball.
And I'll show you where students at the music department at Mount Horeb High School will get to perform and how you can help get them there in the 608.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
We're back, 6:12 on your Thursday. The Mount Horeb High School Marching Band has a big year ahead in the 608 and beyond.
Josh Sprider paid them a visit to learn why the community support is so important. Josh, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. More than 200 kids at Mount Horeb High School have been selected to participate in the 2026 New Year's Day Parade in London. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for these students, but in order for it to make it happen, they need the community's help to get them there. I caught up with the music department to see what makes this group so special.
It forms a community, and a lot of times it gives someone a place to belong and feel included. I also do a lot of sports and activities, and in that sense, it gets me that kind of feel because it's about trying and putting forth that effort, and not only in academic class. For a lot of students, this is the only opportunity they'd have to be able to travel out of the country.
Carlin Ramos is a sophomore at Mount Horeb High School. He plays trombone and loves doing the slides and jazz improv. Although the Viking band show happening this weekend is his favorite event, he tells me he's looking forward to traveling to London for the new year. And for his teacher, Mr. Dorner, that is music to his ears and watching students grow.
For me, I was a really intense music kid, and I didn't see that music has a place for everybody, and I needed to make a place for everybody. I thought it was just for the diehards, and it turns out we have a lot of students with varying levels of interest, but that brings a lot of kids in music who wouldn't be there before. For us to perform, though, for literally 500,000 people and about 1/3 of a billion worldwide in the television audience, it's a really big, unique, exciting thing to do. It's twice as big as the Macy's Parade. We are literally the featured entertainment. We're almost kind of quasi-celebrities when we go over there, and that's really exciting for our kids because here in town it's cool, but we're one of a lot of things, and there it's really unique.
So this is video from 2017, the last time the music department at Mount Horeb High School was able to perform in London. So they're very much looking forward to finally being able to go back with a new group of students. So here's how you can help. The music department has 3 exciting fundraising opportunities. The first is a silent auction happening now, packed with many items. That auction closes on Saturday, April 12th. Then on Sunday, May 4th from noon to 4, there's a special Parade of Homes tour of 13 historic homes and buildings in Mount Horeb. Tickets for that are $20. They can be purchased online. Finally, you can enjoy a VIP tour of Taliesin with Mr. Dorner on Saturday, May 10th at 5 p.m. This is a $150 ticket. It includes many new experiences. Oh, and by the way, the Viking band show kicks off tonight, tomorrow, and Saturday. Limited tickets are still available. For more on how you can help, you can visit the story up on channel3000.com. I have Mark's son's t-shirt even here. Back to the band show. They're doing a little travel theme as far as that goes. And tickets still available. More tonight than the next couple of nights, though. So.
All right, many ways to support.
You got it.
Josh, thank you.
Josh is always looking for stuff to share with you folks at home. Got an idea? Reach out and let him know about it.
Well, let's check in with Savannah. Savannah, what can we expect as we head out the door?
Yeah, first we're going to continue our coverage of Severe Weather Awareness Week in the state of Wisconsin. It's Thursday, lasts a little bit longer the next 2 days. This specifically dealing with tornado, the difference with a watch and a warning. A watch means you need to be prepared. Conditions are favorable for severe weather to develop. When you're dealing with a warning, that means it was either spotted by a trained weather spotter or indicated by radar rotation using Doppler radar. The National Weather Service sometimes does, on rare occasions, issue a tornado emergency. That's also one where you need to move indoors into a sturdy structure, basement preferably if you have one. Otherwise, the lowest level on the interior room, put as many walls as you can between you and the outside as you can. That's basically when you have a severe thunderstorm or a severe tornado, violent, that's on the ground headed towards a large city. We're not tracking any severe weather, no alert days in the forecast over the next 10 days. Could see a couple non-severe thunderstorms Sunday into Monday, but early this morning we're still dealing with a couple of snow showers and some heavy rain as well. Those pockets of heavy rain where that green and those yellows are on radar, east of Camp Douglas, around the Dells in the blue, that's all the snow that we're seeing. No accumulations expected, but some light, wet snowflakes are mixing in with that across portions of southern Wisconsin. The other bigger thing, it's foggy out there. We're down to 4 miles in Madison. That's light fog, but when you go further southwest, where this contour is, the white and gray color, that's where we have patchy dense fog. There's no dense fog advisory, but I'd suggest leaving a little bit of extra time before heading out the door. Mineral Point down to just 1 1/4 mile. Monroe's at 1 mile. But look at Janesville, Watertown, Juneau. They're all up to 10 right now. I do think by mid to late morning, most of the fog will move out of here. The showers will subside for the most part, although mist, it's not going to be the best outside. The mist is going to kind of drag through the early afternoon, and then we'll finally start to see some clearing take place. We're at 35 right now, though. Those temperatures where that blue was on radar, a little bit cooler, closer to freezing level. That's why we're seeing that transition. Everyone else is going to see the upper 40s out there, including the city of Madison later today. That is below average, but we're finally going to get back to a near normal temperature pattern by tomorrow, and then even the 60s return Saturday and Sunday. The next chance of showers and a couple non-severe thunderstorms Sunday, that lasting into Monday. We fall down a little bit Tuesday, Wednesday, expect the 50s, then we're back up to the 60s by Thursday.
It's always tough being the new guy, but it's magnified when the new guy is also the new quarterback of a team looking to get back to playing Badger football of old after a couple years of, well, not so good football. That's what Billy Edwards Jr. is going through during spring ball, getting to know his teammates and coaches while learning a brand new offense and leading it too. Sounds challenging, and it is, but it's also why he came to Wisconsin.
Everything about this program is tough and hard, and it's intentional, and they do it on purpose, and I love it because, you know, Saturdays are hard. So I think just getting pushed in all aspects, I think that was, like I said, a big reason why I wanted to come here, you know, to really challenge myself, not only as a player on the field, but also as a leader. You know, stepping into a new locker room with this landscape of college football, there's 30-some new guys. You're obviously the quarterback of a new offense coordinator that comes in. There's a lot of, you know, attention and eyes on you, and I think just embracing that.
The Packers' annual tailgate tour made a stop at Garver Feed Mill in Madison yesterday. Mark Murphy, along with Tucker Kraft, Lucas Van Ness, Amon Green, Bill Schrader, and others were on hand to sign autographs, pose for pictures, answer questions, and more importantly, say thanks to their fans.
It's just awesome. We're traveling around the great state of Wisconsin, meeting all the fans and supporters that allow us to do what we do and play the game on Sundays. So it's been nothing short of amazing.
It's very rewarding, and this is one of my favorite weeks of the year. It's really a chance to spend some great time, and you know, you have such a great appreciation for what a tremendous fan base we have.
Jack Centurio and the Brewers looking to take the series against the Rockies, and I know the Masters didn't start until today, but last night, that's what you call teeing off. Fifth inning, Churio blasts a 3-run bomb to left, part of a 5 RBI night for him. His hit streak is now up to 11 games. Brewers blow out the Rockies. League One Volleyball unveiled their first ever regular season awards, and Lauren Carlini was listed with the best of the best. The former Badger was named the setter of the year, and it was a no-brainer. Carlini led the league with 695 assists. And speaking of former Badgers, on the ice, opening game for the United States in the Women's Worlds, and Hillary Knight made her mark. The captain for the U.S. sends a strike into the back of the net to light the lamp in the second period. The United States beat Finland 7-1. They're back in action on Friday night. And that's it for Morning Sports. Have a great day.
Up next, the weird stuff that people are leaving behind in Ubers. We're back after this. Hey, we're back. Trending this morning, Uber's annual list of weird stuff that people leave behind in the cars. The company just released its 9th annual Lost and Found Index. The most unique lost items list includes a Viking drinking horn, a Ghostbusters ghost trap, chainsaw, a turtle, and 10 live lobsters.
What turtle?
The top 3 most common things people left behind, as you could imagine: keys, phone, wallet. Phones, listen to this. 1.7 million phones were left behind in Ubers last year.
Not a surprise. Hey, people, those drunken nights for some people.
Way too many.
Well, hey, Lay's wants you to try out these new chip flavors. They're the finalists in its annual $1 Million flavor contest. Bacon grilled cheese, Valentina lime, Korean-style fried chicken. Those all sound good. They'll be in stores.
So good, my stomach's grumbling.
They'll be in stores later this month. You can vote at dousaflavor.com. Previous winners include crispy taco, southern biscuits and gravy, cheesy garlic bread, and fried green tomato. All right, which one are you going for, gang?
I think
Garlic
the bacon
bread.
grilled cheese.
Yeah, that's what I meant, not garlic bread. Same thing.
They all sound good.
They really do.
Yeah, that Korean fried chicken also sounds pretty good.
I'd be interested to see what all of them taste like, just to see if it hits the mark. But they
I
kind
know,
of
'cause
miss that.
sometimes it is a tough one to hit. So
None of them sound terrible, though.
Right. And
I know
let's
some of
remember the taco one that they had not too long ago. That one was really good. So we can't be hating on new flavors all willy-nilly, you know.
Don't knock until you try it.
Exactly.
Okay.
At least it's not like s'mores flavor or something, you know, kind of gross. But
Something
yeah.
random.
Exactly. Well, we're dealing with fog and some rain. We'll track that when we get back.
This morning, Trump's trade war. We have a look at the markets and hear from one local business owner on how it's all affecting his business.
Plus, moving season is upon us. We'll have 3 tips on how you can have a successful move.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. Appreciate you tuning in to News 3 Now this morning. I'm Chris Stanford.
And I'm Kyrie Lee. Thanks for waking up with us. It's Friday Eve, as I like to say. Friday Eve.
Yeah, we got the farmers market opening up this weekend.
Yes.
And some chill,
It's still chilly today.
Yeah.
But hopefully, things are looking up for us later this week.
Starting with a little bit of fog
Yes.
out there, too. We've been keeping an eye on our Dodgeville camera this morning, where that's one of the thicker spots out there with low visibility. Savannah is back, and she is on the patio, giving you what you need to know for your Thursday morning. How is it?
Yeah, guys, good morning. We're dealing with a foggy start, so not the best morning, but we will see some clearing take place late this evening into tonight. We're down to 4 miles in Madison right now when you're talking about visibilities, but Platteville has been down to a quarter of a mile or less than that at times. They're at a half a mile right now. That's one of the low spots and where dense fog is kind of occurring. We don't have a dense fog advisory, but allow a little bit of extra time, especially if you're heading southwest of here. We're also dealing with rain currently across some of the area. It's not widespread, just some patchy lighter showers and even some wet snowflakes. Later in the day, that will subside. We'll talk about how warm it'll be heading into this weekend and for the farmers market. Sneak peek at that forecast coming up.
All right, we'll talk to you then. Thank you, Savannah. Well, today, President Trump is set to meet with his cabinet members. It comes a day after pausing his tariffs for at least 90 days.
The baseline tariff now at 10%. The White House says up to 70 countries are pushing for talks, but China is retaliating, upping tariffs on U.S. goods to 84%. President Trump hit back with a 125% tax on Chinese imports. The EU now says it will pause retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods.
Keeping an eye on the markets this morning, global markets taking on that momentum from yesterday's boom on Wall Street. European markets are surging up 4 to 5%. Tokyo's Nikkei popped 9%. Taiwan markets are up about the same. In New York, though, it is a different story where stocks are down in overnight trading. Dow futures are down 1.3%. NASDAQ futures down about 2%. And the S&P future is down about 1.7%.
One Madison business owner worries about the impact tariffs could have on his business. Owner Kyle Lee has owned Madison Oriental Market and Ethnic Deli for nearly 8 years. The market carries goods from across Africa and Southeast Asia. He says he'll try to keep prices as low as possible. Meanwhile, one customer says she's worried about price increases, but will do what she can to help a small business.
Obviously, it's gonna get difficult, but we can only support,
You come in and see price high, you're gonna have to think about that. It's not us that did it, it's the government. So you just have to bear with it.
Lee says he hopes customers will continue to support.
Legal residents are concerned about international travel. Travelers on social media claim they were harassed, detained, or coerced into giving up their green cards. Green card holders have different rights than U.S. citizens. They can't have that status revoked, though, without a hearing. People online have been advising each other to remove Face ID and delete social media apps before traveling. One immigration lawyer shares what to do.
First Amendment protects everyone who is within the United States. It's more complicated at ports of entry, at airports, where your electronic devices may be searched by Customs and Border Protection officers, especially if you are a non-citizen. This is why it may be important for non-citizens to consider what is on their electronic devices, their laptops, their phones, before entering the United States. And folks should consider what they're posting on social media and whether or not it may pose problems when they're trying to re-enter the country.
Experts also say that another good resource is a green card from the Immigration Legal Resource Center. Those cards outline certain constitutional rights in nearly 20 languages.
A federal judge ordered the government to resume refugee admissions and reinstate funding for resettlement agencies. The International Refugee Assistance Project sued the Trump administration. They argued the government's actions violate statutory obligations approved before Trump took office. Immigration rights advocates accuse the administration of defying obligations and leaving vulnerable families in limbo.
City staff are searching for ways to make buses safer. The move comes after 3 bus drivers were attacked. The city's Transportation Commission just heard a fare enforcement ordinance from Metro Transit last night. That ordinance would allow Metro staff to give riders citations if they don't pay for tickets. Drivers wouldn't need law enforcement to do it. It would also change the minimum fine of $50 to be lowered down to $5. One of the drivers that was attacked says the ordinance is inconsiderate of staff needs.
Gotten to a point after the attack that, I don't even feel comfortable asking that question too much anymore. I don't want to have any kind of confrontation at all.
We're unsure what the policy would look like in practice, though. Metro representatives say the goal is to reduce the risk of conflicts between passengers and drivers.
3 major Wisconsin utilities have proposed rate hikes for the next couple of years. They are Xcel Energy, Alliant Energy, and Madison Gas and Electric. Company officials say the hikes are intended to fund infrastructure upgrades and energy generation projects. The companies have set proposals for increases. MG&E is roughly a 9% increase, Alliant Energy 14%, and Xcel Energy 19%. The Public Service Commission is set to vote on the proposals later this year. Peak moving season for renters is nearly here. Our consumer reporter, Michelle Renee Quinn, has 3 tips to help during the process. Michelle Renee, good morning.
Good morning. Whether you're helping move your kid in or out of college housing or you're renting a new place yourself, experts say the #1 tip to remember is when communicating with your landlord, get everything in writing.
Even if they have a conversation with their landlord about, hey, there's this leaky faucet, follow that up with a text message or an email or a message in the portal that they might be using. That written communication is really important to have for both sides.
Tip number 2, complete that check-in process. Go through the unit you'll be renting and look at everything. Document anything amiss and take pictures. Things like a big stain on the carpet or a cracked window, document that. You don't want those charges to be held against you and your security deposit. And related to that, be sure to document the state of your unit during the checkout process as well. Tip number 3, always be sure to give your landlord your updated address.
When the landlord is going to return that security deposit, their obligation under the law is to send that security deposit to the tenant's last known address. If the last known address is the place that the tenant just moved out of, that's where the landlord is obligated to send it to. The landlord is not required to try to find someone.
Remember to always schedule an on-site tour or visit before making any type of payments because you don't want to get scammed into living somewhere that was advertised under false pretenses.
Michelle Renee, thank you for all those great tips this morning.
Of course.
In other news, an 80-year-old man is being sentenced to life in prison for the murder of his partner. Larry Manthe killed 76-year-old Alice Langer October 16, 2022. Officials at the time said that the pair were in a long-term relationship that Langer was trying to end. They were living together at the time of Langer's death. Manthe was found guilty of first-degree intentional homicide January 10th this year. He was then sentenced to life in prison this week. Manthe will be eligible to apply for extended supervision when he's 100 years old.
5 people are displaced after a fire on Madison's north side. Fire officials say 1 person is slightly injured, but everyone made it out safely. Officials say the fire started in the kitchen on Northland Drive yesterday morning. The cause of the fire is unknown at this time.
Almost 40,000 birds will be culled in Sheboygan County. This after officials identified bird flu in a poultry flock Friday. McFarland Pheasants president Bill McFarland says that farmers are doing everything they can to prevent the bird flu, but it's not a new concern. His Janesville farm already has safety precautions in place to stop the spread. Farmers typically have to be ready for the unknown. Case in point, last June, a tornado hit the farm.
I'm okay, and I think a lot of people in our industry are that very same way. They're doing what they can, and then beyond that, you got to let it go.
Wisconsin Livestock Identification Consortium has some resources to help. They are accepting registration for livestock and farm owners. You can find information on how to do that on our website.
Take a look at this. The Day of the Badger, once again, a huge success. Community members raised $1.7 million. More than 4,000 donors gave about 7,000 gifts between April 8th and 9th. The resulting funds will be going to 150 different causes across campus. That money will address critical needs for students and the university. Day of the Badger has raised $10.2 million over the past 6 years.
$1.7 million. That is a lot of money.
Yes, and so many donors, and the money will go a long way.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
Love to see the community stepping up and supporting everyone.
Let's check in with Savannah. What's coming up?
Guys, we're dealing with some showers and a foggy start to our day. That all will move out of here later. We'll talk about our highs over the next couple of days and our next chance of showers after this morning.
And I'll show you where students in the music department at Mount Horeb High School will get to perform and how you can help get them there in the 608.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
Welcome back. We want to remind you of a statewide tornado drill happening today. Everyone in the state is invited to participate, going to their designated tornado shelter at 1:45 and 6:45 p.m. Some TV and radio stations may break display information during those times. There will not be alerts sent to phones or devices. Ready Wisconsin urges everyone to have a plan in place and to know where to go if a tornado warning is issued.
Yeah, that time of year, so be advised. Don't freak out when you hear the sirens going off this afternoon and this evening. Let's check in with Savannah Brito. She's got some more good, useful information that we need to know this time of year.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Thank you. Today is the day of the tornado drill and continuing our coverage of Severe Weather Awareness Week in the state of Wisconsin. This specifically kind of talks about the differences between a tornado watch and a tornado warning. A tornado watch just means you need to be prepared. That's when conditions are favorable for tornadoes to develop. A step further, the National Weather Service will issue a tornado warning. That's either when it's spotted by trained weather spotters or using Doppler radar, using radar rotation as an indication that a tornado may occur or is happening. That case, you need to seek shelter. A watch just means you need to be prepared, but even so, on rare occasions, the National Weather Service will issue a tornado emergency. That's also when you need to seek shelter. A basement's the best case scenario, but if you don't have one, somewhere on the lowest level of your home, apartment complex, whatever building that you live in, and you want to put as many walls as you can between you and the outside as possible. The tornado emergency is when a violent tornado is on the ground headed towards a larger city. We're not expecting any severe weather. There's no alert days in the forecast, but some patchy lighter areas of drizzle and also fog that we're tracking this morning. That was up near Waunakee for the most part. It's scattered in nature, not widespread. If you're heading north, temperatures there are a little bit cooler, Wisconsin Dells, and a light band of snow that we're tracking all the way up to Wausau. That includes the Stevens Point area, wet snowflakes. No accumulation, though, is expected, so just a couple of scattered showers, but there are some heavier showers, too. North of Lone Rock, you can see the yellow on radar. It's not thunderstorms, just a pocket of heavy rain, so might encounter that while driving if you're traveling northwest of here. By mid to late morning, most of that moves out of here. Same with the fog, but I do think some mist could linger. Not going to lead to any additional rainfall accumulation at that point in time, but just something to be aware of heading into the lunchtime hour. We're down to 4 miles of visibility in Madison. Janesville and Watertown have remained at 10 miles, but if you're heading southwest of here, Platteville's lingering around half a mile, Mineral Point at 1 mile. So we do have low visibilities and some patchy dense fog. There's no advisory, but allow a little bit of extra time, especially if you are traveling southwest of Madison this morning. Mid to late morning, visibilities should come up to 10 to 12, which is full visibility. We're back into the mid-50s Friday and then even the 60s over the weekend. Our next chance of rain is going to be Sunday into Monday. That's when we could see a couple thunderstorms, but nothing severe is expected at that point in time. Just a little bit of rain, maybe some isolated rumbles of thunder and lightning.
Okay, nothing that we can't handle.
No, at least the 60s return.
Exactly. That's all I'm worried about.
Exactly.
The 60s returning.
Yes.
That's it. So
Farmers market Friday morning or Saturday morning, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we'll be dealing with a little bit of rain. Temperatures will be cool, but then they'll warm up quickly towards the end of that at 12. Right. So cover it. It ends at 12:45. They start cleaning up at 12:45, right?
Something like that.
Something like that. A little later in the afternoon. Yeah.
We'll put me on the spot. That's right. Hey,
but yes.
You want Savannah to plan your day? She'd love to do so. Just record a video and send it our way through the First Warn Weather app, Facebook Messenger, or email, and then watch to see if you make it on the air.
The Mount Horeb High School Marching Band has a big year ahead in the 608 and beyond.
Josh Breider paid him a visit to learn why the community's support is so important. Josh, hey.
Hey, good morning, guys. So more than 200 kids at Mount Horeb High School have been selected to participate in the 2026 New Year's Day Parade in London. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for these students, but in order for it to happen, they need the community's help to get them there. I caught up with the music department to see what makes this group so special.
It forms a community, and a lot of times it gives someone a place to belong and feel included. I also do a lot of sports and activities, and in that sense, it gets me that kind of feel because it's about trying and putting forth that effort, and not only in academic class. For a lot of students, this is the only opportunity they'd have to be able to travel out of the country.
Carlin Ramos is a sophomore at Mount Horeb High School. He plays trombone and loves doing the slides and jazz improv. Although the Viking band show happening this weekend is his favorite event, he tells me he's looking forward to traveling to London for the new year. And for teacher Mr. Dorner, that is music to his ears and watching students grow.
For me, I was a really intense music kid, and I didn't see that music has a place for everybody, and I needed to make a place for everybody. I thought it was just for the diehards, and it turns out we have a lot of students with varying levels of interest, but that brings a lot of kids in music who wouldn't be there before. For us to perform, though, for literally 500,000 people and about 1/3 billion worldwide in the television audience, it's a really big, unique, exciting thing to do. It's twice as big as the Macy's Parade. We are literally the featured entertainment. We're almost kind of quasi-celebrities when we go over there, and that's really exciting for our kids because here in town it's cool, but we're one of a lot of things, and there it's really unique.
This is video from 2017, the last time the music department at Mount Horeb High School was able to perform in London. So they're very much looking forward to finally being able to go back with a new group of students. So here's how you can help. The department has 3 exciting fundraising opportunities. The first is a silent auction happening now, packed with many items. That auction closes on Saturday. Then on Sunday, May 4th, there's a special Parade of Homes tour at Mount Horeb. Tickets are $20 and can be purchased online. Finally, enjoy a VIP tour of Taliesin with Mr. Dorner on Saturday, May 10th. This is $150 a ticket and includes many new experiences. Oh, and by the way, the Viking band show kicks off tonight. Tomorrow and Saturday, limited tickets are still available. So for more on how you can help, just go to the story up on channel3000.com. So lead photographer Mark Schilling, I call him Moho Mark because he's Mr. Mount Horeb.
And I asked him yesterday what Moho was.
Look at that. Back to the band show. They have a little travel theme going on for this weekend. And I just love how Mount Horeb really sees their music department. It reminds me a lot of my high school growing up in Minnesota. It's cool to be in band. Like, you have all of the athletes, you have all of the different organizations want to be part of the band. And to think more than 200 of them get the opportunity to go to London for the New Year's Day Parade, I mean, that is amazing.
Yes, I'm excited and hope fundraising goes as planned, and yes, hope they have the time of their lives.
That's the thing, is obviously going to London is not cheap. So they need the help to be able to get them there, because this is an opportunity that a lot of kids might never get again, you know?
Right, trip of a lifetime.
Exactly.
Josh, thanks for sharing.
You bet.
If you have an idea for Josh to feature in the 608, a lot of his ideas come from people just like you. So send him a note and your story might wind up on TV.
Coming up in the morning sprint, why your allergies may be getting worse.
If you have a little kiddo turning 3, send us a picture. We'll show it on TV. We're back with the sprint after this. 6:53, time for the morning sprint.
Today, President Donald Trump is set to begin meeting with his cabinet members. This comes a day after pausing his tariffs for at least 90 days. The baseline tariff now 10%. The White House says up to 70 countries are pushing for talks, but China is retaliating, upping tariffs on U.S. goods to 84%. President Trump hit back with a 125% tax on Chinese imports. The EU now says it will pause retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods.
Checking in with stocks, global markets, taking on that momentum from yesterday's boom on Wall Street. European markets are surging up about 5%. Tokyo's Nikkei topped 9% in overnight trade, or in their trading hours yesterday. Taiwan markets are up about the same. But in New York this morning, it is a different story. Stocks are down in overnight trading. Dow futures are down 1.2%. S&P futures are down more than 1.5%. And NASDAQ futures are down about 2%.
The House is set to vote on a budget blueprint that could be the foundation for how the U.S. spends money. There has been a vote delay from House Speaker Mike Johnson because GOP holdout. The plan asked the House Energy and Commerce Committee to come up with $880 billion in cuts. Analysts say it's hard to do that without affecting Medicaid. Republicans say they want to refine the program, but it has Democrats worried.
If you have a car and you live in Fitchburg, you're going to have to pay a wheel tax starting later this year. It's also known as a vehicle registration fee. If your registration expires this August or cars registered on or after August 1st, they're all going to be subject to an annual $40 fee. The city says the money is going to go to help with transportation costs, and they expect it to bring in about $1 million.
Construction on I-90-94 near the Wisconsin Dells is set to begin next week. It's part of a contract signed by Governor Tony Evers to repair pavement between U.S. Highway 12 and State Highway 23 in Sauk County. Preliminary work will begin Monday. I-90-94 will remain open to traffic under lane closures and nighttime work. The project is scheduled to be done in August.
If you've noticed your allergies are getting worse in recent years, climate change may be to blame. A new study shows that because of climate change, pollen seasons are longer and pollen concentrations are higher. By the end of this century, pollen seasons in the U.S. is expected to last an additional 19 days.
And remember, it is Wisconsin's Severe Weather Awareness Week, so we are doing a tornado drill. The National Weather Service and some municipalities will sound their sirens. Just don't be aware that they will and could sound the sirens. That's at 1:45 and another one at 6:45 p.m. So do not be alarmed if those sirens go off. We're not expecting severe weather today, just a little bit of rain and fog this morning, and then we'll slowly start to clear out. And there's no alert days in the next 10 days. So that's also good news.
That's good.
Yeah.
But at least you know that everything works with these tests. So
Exactly.
there's that. Savannah, thank you.
We're back with the news and weather update in 30 minutes.